All right, we are live on Facebook. Happy Monday. Here is this week's rendition of Mindshift Monday. Here is this week's. I got the double. And what I'm talking about today is stop the all or nothing way of thinking. And Mindshift Monday is we're working on shifting our mind and thinking from one way to another way, a better way of thinking. And the Bible calls it renewing our mind. When we let go of the lies and believe the truth, it sets us free, because the truth always sets us free. So today we're talking about this all or nothing mentality and way of thinking. What would life look like if we didn't look at it from that perspective? If we opened our mind to shift that way of thinking, it's either all or nothing, to wow, what if I shifted to noticing and paying attention to the many wins? Because the reality is, you guys, our journey is a step by step by step. No journey is going to look perfect. We always say progress over perfection, but if we have this false expectation that you have to do all the things, then what happens? We lose motivation, then we do nothing. There's always all or nothing. We have to stop thinking of it in that way. Things begin to shift when we realize my journey is never going to look perfect. I don't have to do all the things. What if I just focus on my cans, and when things don't go as I expect them to look, I just keep stepping. I get up and take another step. I get up and take another step, because there's not this all or nothing way of thinking. When we have that all or nothing mentality, we lose motivation really quickly when things don't go according to our expectation. So now, because we didn't do all the things, now we lose motivation and we give up because it's not working. This is the reality. Everything works when we do the work, but it's not going to look the way you might think it should look. It's not going to be all the things perfectly. It's going to be, I did this great. Could have done this one better, right? It's when we start to embrace the wins and start to focus on what win did I have today? Maybe it was a super small one. Maybe it was, we had an extra 10 steps. You had an extra glass of water. That's not that small, actually, because our journey is comprised of one step after another. If we begin to have this mind shift from it has to be all this way, or I'm not going to do anything. It's not working for me, doesn't work for me. If we shift from that all or nothing mentality and start to embrace the many wins we have along our journey, we won't lose motivation. We'll be able to keep stepping, because now we lose that expectation. It has to look a certain way. I have to do all the things. If I don't do all the things perfectly, then I don't do anything because it's not working for me. We have to change that way of thinking, you guys, because it keeps us stuck. That whole feeling of overwhelm, because when you have too many things at once, that's why simplicity is so beautiful. That's why I love my simplified meal plans. Does that mean you have to eat everything on the meal plan, do it exactly according to the meal plan? That's the all or nothing mentality. No, overwhelm is a choice. Reject that overwhelm, reject that way of thinking. Go, okay, wait, hold on here. I'm going to try one recipe instead of the whole meal plan. Is that still winning? Yes. Maybe before, maybe you wouldn't have tried any of it. Every win counts, every step counts. But if we stay in that all or nothing mentality, we lose sight of what we are winning in. Now we only see what we're not winning in, supposedly, that only looks a certain way. It's not according to our expectation. Then we lose motivation. Then we do nothing, because now we're in overwhelm and we feel like we're losing and nothing's working for me. What if we let that go today? Why not this week? Why don't you think about thinking every night before you go to bed, what was one win I had today? What is a win? Let me think about the things that I feel good about, the wins that happened, no matter how small. There's no win that's too small. Every detail, every step of our journey counts, because that's our journey. Our journey is comprised of one baby step after another. So are you willing to give this a try this week? Are you willing to let go of it has to be a certain way? It has to be all or nothing. Nothing works for me because I did this thing and it didn't work. What if we switched our focus to what were my wins? What am I learning? And the things that we're learning in, what if you went to the Lord and said, Lord, what healing do you have for my heart right here? I chose to have a whole bag of caramels instead of just one. What healing do you have for my heart right here? I honor my heart. Why did you choose that? What was I feeling stressed? We start to pay attention to what's going on. What was the win? The win is I'm getting back up. I'm going to have some water. I'm going to stand from the TV. I'm going to walk in place for 5 minutes. That's still a win. Even though you might have had to blow it, you're still pushing forward. You guys, that's what our journey is going to look like. It's never going to look perfect. There's not going to be any perfect timing. It's not going to be nothing works for me. It's going to be, wow, we have these moments where this works, that didn't work. What am I learning? What am I growing in? What if we embrace this new mindset of celebrating every single win and having the expectation it's not going to look the way you think it should look. It's not going to look perfect. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. I'm going to celebrate every win that I have because I'm so worth it. And my journey and my health depends on it. I don't want to lose motivation. I want to invite you to try that this week. Let me know how that works for you. I want to hear, how is this landing for your heart? Is your heart like, that's not going to work for me? Or is your brain going, hello, you had the whole bag of chips instead of half a bag, or right? I don't know what's going on in your heart, but come to the Lord about it. Talk to him, open up the conversation. How can I shift my way of thinking from all or nothing to losing my motivation to gaining motivation and inspiration by celebrating each one of my wins? How do I shift from the all or nothing mindset to this new way of thinking of celebrating the wins and realizing it's not going to look perfect because my journey is never going to be perfect. So I just bless you with that. I want to hear how this lands for you. If you feel like you have questions, you want to ask me, just tag me, ask me, be happy to answer that for you. But if this blesses you, share it with your friends. I would love to hear how this lands for them. And just know that we are in this together, that things will work for you when we shift our minds from one way to another way. Insanity is when we do the same thing, but expecting a different result. What if we didn't live insanely anymore? And we went from mind shift to this way of thinking that's a renewed mind, that's more kingdom minded, more aligned with the Lord and his goodness that he has for us, so that we're not stuck in that nothing works for me mentality. You can do this because you are so worth the effort. So I bless you. Have an amazing rest of your day and week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.